Welcome aboard everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. We have a video here on XDC XinFin. This is actually the third time I've done this video, you wouldn't know it, but it's the third time I've recorded this video because OBS has been messing about. I get to finish the completion of the recording and then it crashes. I'm like, why? So here we are for the third time in my mind, but the first time for your mind. Before we go into the chart of XinFin XDC, guys, I'm not going to go into massive detail of XinFin and XDC. Go check out our intro videos and our topic videos. We talk a lot about our free quarter, the Helvetia aspects and things like that with the the CBDCs around the world, especially things around like the Swiss bank, the French banks as well. But clearly, there's been a bit of price movement in the last 48 hours. I think that's mainly explained by this wonderful ByBit exchange listing. So spot pairing of the USDT on ByBit, which is fantastic to see. ByBit appears to be quite a popular exchange building right now. There's an app. I don't think it's on desktop yet, or I don't know whether they know if they're going to do one or not. But yeah, very interesting to see that movement. And of course, that's clearly had some influx on it. How the research I've done, I haven't seen any kind of like major other news with XinFin last few days, but certainly that is clearly something that has helped that situation on the price. But we'll go into that in more detail in a second. And one of my final topics here before we do go into charts, just to reiterate this point about the ISO. So the ISO 222, big standardization around the world right now in relation to the messaging format within finance and transactions. Clearly a big emphasis being made of governments around the world and organizations to have this standardization. So anything for me in this ISO principle is really important. It's almost like future-proofing the investment that you're making with these regulations in place and these standardizations. And the likes of Ripple, Stellar, I believe, who are also ISO compliant with this one in particular, but are also board members as well. So they're on the advisory board. But it's interesting that XinFin is, of course, on this, as well as a couple of other very well-known names that we talk about quite a bit here on the channel, and a few others that are very much near enough going to be added, I'm sure, in the early times of 2022. Can you believe we're only 2 days away from next year already? It's crazy. So guys, big things around XinFin across the whole of this year. It's been a pleasure covering this project. It's one of our favorites. It's certainly one of our biggest bags between Steve and I and the Whales of Wall Street. And we speak highly of it. We do a lot of research, as we mentioned, about the topic videos, the intro videos. We'll leave some links at the end of this one. If you're new to the channel or you're new to XDC, do go check those out, because this is going to be an absolute giant in the future. Completely under the radar, in my opinion. It's completely undervalued, and that's kind of a good thing, because it also means that you have a great opportunity right now to be bagging some ridiculously bargain priced opportunities with your XDC portfolio. Smash that like button if you like what you hear and see, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. But let's just take a quick look at the chart. Got quite a few videos to get through before the year ends, which is literally 24 hours away, pretty much. Mental. So guys, as we confirm here, last 48 days have been, 48 hours have been quite positive for XDC. As I said, probably through that ByBit launch beforehand, and I'm sure, no doubt, there were some deposits before it officially launched, similar to what Q kind of did with IOTA in this morning, I think. But of course, we had a bit of a tail off already today, so we're seeing already a wick forming at the top of today. That's understandable. This in particular, I think, is around 20%. Looks like it. Let's have a look. I wasn't far off. What was that? 19.13. Just under 20 cents move yesterday. So that's quite respectable within 1 day. And it's taken us quite nicely, actually, because from this point down here, probably about a week, 2 weeks ago now, that's a good healthy 40-odd% increase. So some good moves have been made. We'll check out the RSIs in a minute. I'm sure that will reflect that move as well. But it looks like finally, albeit that we probably started the process back here, almost like positively confirming that we're moving out of that bear market that we were in with XDC, arguably starting from this August point back here when we hit nearly 20 cents. And that was quite an amazing achievement, really, in such a short space of time. Let's just have a check how much down we've come, just roughly pretty much 65-ish%. Very respectable indeed. Kind of something that we actually anticipated and expected. We were buying a lot of XDC from these points of 8, 7 and lower as well. And to be honest, anything under 10 cents, in my opinion, is an absolute steal for XDC, not just for this coming bull run, but for the future as well. I'm just trying to accumulate XDC as much as I can in any dips that I see. And long may I do that for the next couple of years. I'm sure there'll be a winter market maybe at some point as well. Who knows what the price will come down to at that stretch. Depends on how far high we go with XDC as well as any other crypto assets out there. So right now, touching on these fib retracement points, as I said, we've come out of this nice move here, floated nicely for the last week or so on this fib retracement longer term at 7.8 cents roughly. Can't quite yet achieve these top ends of just over 10 cents. Today we tried to, where we could only get as far as 0.6 cents. Can you believe it? It was so close, yet so far. It doesn't actually feel that way, but it wasn't far off at all. It looks like a long way, but it's not. We're talking about 0.4 cents or something. Absolutely crazy. We did, however, nearly, if not hit, I think 9.83 was the marker on the 16th of December. So clearly some resistance patterns there. We're not quite ready to fully break that 10 cents. But my anticipations for the next few days and into next week is we may come and touch back down to these 8.6. I do have a buy order back in there just in case. Well, I think I've put one at 8.7 cents or something. We're not actually massively far off it right now. We're currently, as we're recording, 9.1 cents mark. So yeah, hopefully we can hover around this area. I would love us to break that 10 cents before the end of the year and maintain that and push ourselves back up, because I think we'll definitely have some testing at the higher range of 10 cents as well before maybe a small pullback. But that's where I see us going because of the announcement. It's kind of not necessarily falsified, but it's pulled us up quicker than we anticipated. But I don't think just yet there's enough momentum behind it to push us up further straight away. That's not to say it won't happen in maybe a week's time or something. Hopefully it does. But I think right now, because of the momentum we've had, certainly from this point especially, people would definitely be taking profits up here because they've almost, not fully, but very much just under doubled their position, if you like. So people are probably going to be a bit cautious around here, just taking profits as they can along the way. But hopefully we can build some momentum. Like I said, if it touches around that 86, 87, I do anticipate we'll probably get an influx of volume coming in again, because that's probably going to be a nice touch point here from previous data. And especially back here, if you look here, if you look at the drop down, there's resistance around this 8487 mark as well. Resisted it, pulled it back up, couldn't do it, dragged us back down. But now look at that. I just think that's a really nice sweet spot. So I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, see it come back down there before we take it up again. Let's see how that plays out. But other things to look at to sort of confirm that kind of thought process really is we've had this positive momentum. The narrowing of the MACD occurred a couple of days ago, however pulled it back up with the exchange listing, in my opinion. This histogram in the background that you can see, it looks like it's creating almost a second wave, a second green wave, but I think that might be a bit short-lived in my opinion. I don't think it would be as extravagant as we saw here in November. I would love to see that, and that's probably what will take us up to that 10, 11 cents mark, but we'll just have to see how it plays out, because right now we've had this big spike that usually to me indicates a bit of a pullback eventually coming at some point, especially with the big take up we had here between the 13th and the 15th/16th of December as well. So what we can say, however, is on the longer term, on the 90-day, still very much fluctuating around this 47, 48 mark. So the structure is still there in the long term, and the 28 days looked really, really great moves as well, from 36 up to highs of this 52, and that's reflecting in the 14 day as well. So if you were buying about 2 weeks ago, the RSI was down at like 28. That's a beautiful time to have purchased like we did. Like I said, I haven't sold any yet, but if you were selling, you very much doubled pretty much your position. So congratulations to those that were trading along the way, or indeed around this mark where we are now. But like I said, you'll probably see a bit of a pullback and then some hopeful touch points around those 8.7 cents or 8.5 cent marks and take us back up again. So we'll just have to see how that plays out in the next few days and into next week. But for me, it's just really nice to see finally XDC pulling itself back up. We've had this drag down from August to December. It's felt like a very long time. It's felt like a constant drag down. But now finally, the last couple of weeks have been looking very positive. And as if by magic, guys, you see this big trend down. And who knows, in a month's time, this could be back up here. You might start seeing a very nice V shape occurring. And maybe, just maybe, the signaling of the beginning of bull runs. We'll just have to keep an eye on Bitcoin's movements over these coming month or so to see where we are with that. But like I said, anything in my opinion under 10 cents or even 15 cents for XDC is an absolute steal compared to what it will be in the future, as well as the upcoming hopeful bull run, which we are yet to see. So clearly there's some buy momentum coming here on the indicators, as you can see on the right hand side here. So I don't think we're finished just yet with this full uptake, but like I said, I think we might see some resistance at 10 or just over 10 where we've seen previous touch points. But it's looking good, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next XTC video next week, where we will update you on its existing movements at the time and any other news that we can cover between now and then. But until then, guys, Happy New Year to you all if I don't speak to you in another video. We'll see you on the other side in 2022. Can you believe that we are talking about 2022 already? Mental. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.